That's Miss Penny Kennedy.
Oh, hey, Penny. I should have known it was you. Okay. I'm going to type it in the chat so you guys can actually see what it is, so you guys will know what the email address is as well. Yep, correct. Thank you, Miss Stephanie. So let's get started. Gloria, can you give me rights to share my screen? Did you spend all that hard-earned money, Cheyenne, somewhere? Where'd you spend your money?
Get ready to go on vacation next week.
Well, I'm glad. I hope you really deserve it. All right. So ladies, this is the contract that is for American Beauties and for American Beauties National. And what we will end up doing is you'll see, oh, no, that's not your contract. That's not it. I just got off the phone doing their contracts, but that's not y'all's. Uh-oh. Can y'all see it? No? Can you see it now?
No.
Did it stop sharing?
I think so.
Or
It's just on your face picture.
you can see my face?
No, I'm just saying like on your picture, like your box, but it's not showing the screen.
All we see is your name. That's it. There you are.
Y'all see my braids? They, girl, they show up now.
It's all good. Character. It's all character.
This is me, Diana. Don't change. Okay. Am I ready, Gloria? All right, let's see. Now can you see it?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the title will be different on each one of you guys' contracts. It'll say American Beauties Nationals and or American Beauties Plus. This is the national contract meeting. And we're going to go over the national contract. We're going to go over all of the numbers labeled on, I think it's 23 numbers labeled into this contract. Also, if you guys have any questions, either you can place them in the chat. And Gloria, can you monitor the chat for me? And if you have a question while we're going through it, please use the raise your hand button so that it doesn't stop the process. I ask that you guys all place your cameras and our phones on mute so that we can go through the contracts quite seamlessly and really quickly. I don't want to hold you guys too long. This shouldn't take more than 30 minutes. All right. American Beauties National NL Plus contract as a title holder of American Beauties National or Royal Productions and Events by Natasha LLC. You'll print your name in there and they'll give you an option to print your name when the DocuSign comes over. Agree to follow the legal binding contract as stated. Number 1, American Beauties National and Royal Productions is given permission to use any, I repeat, any photos taken at the national pageant and or at their discretion in any or all literature and advertising and promotional purposes. Should my title be forfeited or should I choose to resign at the time during the duration of this contract, I understand that my photos, name, and title will and can continue to be used for promotional products, excuse me, in print or social media and on national website. These items will not be removed, only at the discretion of Royal Productions and or staff. Is that understood, ladies? You understand that whether or not you continue on with us or you decide to part ways, that we do have the right to use the photos that we took during nationals, as well as any type of photos that you took in your state regalia as well. Number 2, I agree and acknowledge as a national title holder, I allow Royal Productions LLC to use any of the headshots that are taken at the Nationals pageant or provided by me at their discretion. So if you took a photo that was not to what we wanted, or we didn't think it would give the look that we were looking for, we have the right to find an additional headshot of you that you have taken that will be used for promotional and or press release. So please don't be alarmed. And I hope that you like all your pictures, but note that we will use certain pictures, not all. I agree and acknowledge I will make a minimum of 12 appearances throughout the year of my reign, 1 per calendar month, minimum totaling no less than 12 for the duration of the reign. That is for divisional winners. Divisional winners are responsible for 12 appearances. If you are an elite, you are responsible for 18 appearances. These appearances can be parades, judging pageants, volunteering at civic and or community events, etc. And I understand that one of these appearances must be related to domestic violence. That is not an option. Whatever you guys decide to do as far as your appearances and how you make them, that's your choice. However, one of your appearances must be a domestic violence appearance. If you are an outstanding queen, you two are under a year contract, and you fit under the 12 appearances for the calendar year. If you are on here and you are Queen Excellence, you are under a 6 months contract and you are held to 8 appearances for the year. So your contract will be a little different. As Queen Excellence, you are held to 8 appearances. As a divisional winner, you are 12. Outstanding queen, you two are 12. And elites are 18 appearances. Please make sure you understand that each one of you guys are responsible for that domestic violence appearance. Whether you are Queen Excellence and or outstanding or divisional or elite. The guidelines for the appearance is a title hustler, Lord Jesus. A title holder must be in crown and sash or sash only, or any type of apparel that has the organization's name on it. You do not have to wear your crown and sash everywhere you go, as long as you have something that represents American Beauties Plus and or American Beauties National and or Royal Productions. So I know you guys have the Royal Productions t-shirts, and some of you guys have years in of t-shirts that you're welcome to wear to make your appearances. Title holders must make at least 1 appearance per calendar month during the reign. That is something that Gloria will be reaching out to you. If she feels like you guys are kind of falling behind, she'll reach out to ensure that you guys are staying on task and so that you don't fall behind. We don't want any of you ladies to fall behind, and we know that you guys want. This is a great group of women, and I'm very excited to see what this year brings. Title holder must have a clean and neat appearance while representing American Beauties National pageants and or plus. Makeup must be worn, hair must be neat and tidy, and deodorant and perfume must be worn. We laugh and we joke about it, but sometimes people are not as tidy as we see fit. So we just want to make sure that we come off as clean, pretty much. So I would recommend that you guys kind of keep a little deodorant, a little toiletry bag in your car, just in case you and keep your crown and sash in your car. Because sometimes we're out walking, going exercising. It may be an appearance opportunity for us. Somebody, you may find something that you want to do. So just keep a little small toiletry bag with you with the, your toothpaste, toothbrush, a little bit of deodorant, perfume, or whatever you guys use, just in your car along with in your little sash boxes that you guys have. I understand that it is my responsibility to communicate with the Queen's liaison, director, assistant director, if extenuating circumstances arise and I'm unable to make appearances. Ladies, this is the problem we had last year. Not that you guys, not that they didn't make the appearances. They waited to the last minute to try to reach out to try to get some assistance. Don't do that. If you're having some trouble making appearances, or you need a buddy to pair up with in order to make an appearance, reach out to Gloria as soon as you can, so that she can assist you and or she could reach out to one of us to help you find out what you need to get your appearances made. Yes, Gloria.
There were two questions. One was, can the domestic violence appearance be done as a group with other queens?
Yes.
Okay. And we actually encourage that. That's great to do that. And the other question is, what if we have a shirt that says Queen? Will that be acceptable as well?
No, it must have the ABN, ABP logo or Royal Productions logo in order for you to get that, to get it counted as an appearance for the organization. So you can have the Queen shirt, but you might want to try to add like on the sleeve or something, ABP or whatever your title is, to be added to that Queen shirt. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay. I understand that failure to meet any and all the requirements will remove me from being eligible to be awarded the Outstanding Queen. Is that clear? I see some head nods, so that makes me feel okay. All right, so I don't want anybody to think that we're just isolating you from being selected as Outstanding Queen, but you have to make these appearances. And in order to get the Outstanding Queen, it's more so above and beyond what you normally would do. And it is tracked, and Gloria can tell you, we ask periodically how they're doing, how the queens are moving, tell us some of their appearances. And believe me, there's a difference between an appearance and a photo op. So just be mindful of those things as well. Moving on, I agree and acknowledge I will solely represent American Beauty's Nationals and/or Plus for the entirety of my reign. I will not compete in, recruit for, represent at events on social media or at any other pageant until I have returned to crown my successor in 2023. I understand if I have already committed to another pageant system prior to signing this contract, it is my responsibility to notify the national director. That needs to be changed, so I'll make sure I update that before I send it. It should say the CEO of Royal Productions and or the producer of the organization. So I would encourage you, if you guys are already part of an organization and or you work or you're a director, that the information needs to either be provided to myself, Miss Natasha, and or Gloria, so that we would know and have this information on hand, so that if something comes about and we see it, there's not someone who will call you out saying, hey, you can't do this or whatnot, or you find yourself in trouble. And I don't want that to happen to any of you guys. I do know that Miss Greta is on here, and she's the co-director for another system. So that has already been put in writing, and we know that. So when she's out and she's representing that organization, we already are aware that she has that and that she was a co-director prior to coming into the organization. So if you are part of or staff member or something of that nature, or you are affiliated with another organization, you need to ensure that that information is sent to us in writing. It has to be in writing. We don't want it, not word of mouth. It has to be in writing. Royal Productions and Events by NM have the right to eliminate eliminate ad divisions if they so choose for the American Beauty's pageants produced. This information will be posted if such an event happens. What that means is we have thought about, and everybody knows this, of eliminating some of the title holders that we have for the organization. We're looking to downgrade to make it look more like the ASB, where we'll have less queens, but we haven't solely decided whether or not that would take place. We just wanted to make sure you guys know that it can happen if we so choose to eliminate and or add divisions. I agree and acknowledge that the documentation and photos of all appearances will be submitted to the national office within 15 calendar days of the appearance via the Google form provided to me. The official form to track appearances will be sent directly to me from the national office via the email within 10 business days of my crowning. They already have that, right, Gloria?
They already have the appearance tracker.
Yes.
Yes, they do. However, it was communicated that as long as they got their appearances recorded within the month, they would be okay. Is that still a thing? Or does it need to be by the 15th day? Because if they are in April and say their appearance is the 31st, or you know how the dates get mixed up, they said last year that it would just be easier if they did it in April, as long as it was uploaded in April, they were okay. Is that
All
still?
appearance will be submitted to the national office within the month.
Yes, within that same month that they completed it.
Does that read right to you?
Let me see.
Submitted to the national office within the month of the actual appearance
Yes,
via the Google form? Okay. I also acknowledge that selfies of any kind are not accepted as appearance photos. And there's a reason for that. Those photos that you guys are using for the appearances are being placed in the program books, they're being placed on advertisements. And therefore, what we don't want to do is have selfies as those lead off pictures to say, here I am as a queen. So you want to make sure you have some professional pictures, and or the phones take really great pictures. So I'm not saying that they have to be a professional photographer all the time when you're making appearances. That's not you taking the picture to be presented as your appearance. Without photogenic evidence of the appearance, I acknowledge that it will not count towards my total. So you must have a photo for every appearance, and or some type of documented documentation to show that you had an appearance. You don't have, because certain areas, I volunteer at a domestic violence shelter and we're not allowed to take photos. But I do have letters from the organization that says, thank you for volunteering on this day. And so that's my proof that I made an appearance. So not all appearances you're going to be able to make have a photo, and we do understand that. But make sure you keep good documentation of your appearances, and make sure Gloria has that information within the calendar month that you guys are doing the appearance. I understand that I posting appearance photos on my own personal page and pageant social media pages is not equivalent to submitting the official appearance to the national office. I understand that the national office will only be updating the website one time per month maximum, and that not all pictures I submit will be used, and the ones that are used are chosen at the webmaster's national director's discretion only. I understand that the national office will be using these images for social media promotions and give permission to use any image that I submit at their discretion. I acknowledge that should my title be forfeited or I voluntarily resign, as aforementioned, the use of my name, image, likeness will not be removed from the page, and my image and platform can still be used for promotional material at the discretion of Royal Productions, LLC, and its affiliates. I understand that the failure to meet these requirements will remove me from being eligible to be awarded Outstanding Queen. Any questions? None? Number 7, I agree and acknowledge that while American Beauty Nationals can provide suggestions, I am responsible for scheduling my own personal appearances at my own cost. I understand that I am completely responsible for all fees and costs endured while I am a national queen. That should be, go ahead, Gloria.
There's a question. Are queens allowed to help backstage for another pageant system?
They are more, I am more than happy to allow another queen who represents our system helping for another system. It shows a bond, and it shows sistership, and that's something that we want to do. So yes, you are welcome to do so.
Okay,
Make sure you get you a nice photo too in the process. All right. I agree and acknowledge I will not defame, slander, or threaten the pageant, any member of the pageant staff, reigning queens, lifetime queens, queen of queens, families, etc., of American Beauties, Nationals, and/or Plus, or any pageant owned by Royal Productions. If I would have signed this at pageant weekend, we would have had a whole problem because I was ready to kill quite a few people during pageant weekend. So I'm glad I don't sign contracts. Yes, Miss Glory. Did you raise your hand, Gloria? No. Okay. Defamation is defined as the act of communicating in any way false statements about a person that injure the reputation of that person or the pageant. I understand that slander and defamation are serious offenses and could result in forfeiture or resignation of my title. I'll fix that. I understand that should my title be forfeited or resigned, that I have 15 days to provide tracking information for my crown and sash to be returned to Nationals. Failure to do so may result into legal action and a fine equal to or value of regalia. Do understand if you decide to resign your position that you must send back the crown and sash. All the prizes that you receive, those aren't needed, but the crown and sash must be provided. Excuse me. I agree and acknowledge in the event I resign of my title and forfeit, I will not defame or slander. Did I just go over that? I just went over that, right? No, defame or slander the queens or lifetime queens, all that good stuff. Nobody in Royal Productions. I also acknowledge that if I resign and forfeit, I'll resign of my title is forfeited. All personally owned pages or images with my title, including the American Beauties brand, can be taken down immediately following forfeiture. I also acknowledge that I will be required to remove it from my own personal social media, website, resume, or any other material. I understand that should my title be forfeited or resigned, I have 15 days to provide tracking information of my crown and sash to be returned to the national office. Failure to do so may result into legal action and a fine equal to or value of the regalia. Should I resign or my title be forfeited, I agree that I can be posted and made public that I have resigned or forfeited my title. It can, and I will tell you that if you guys chose to resign or decide that this is not what you want to do, we will try to make the process as seamless as possible without bringing any undue or unnecessary negativity to anybody. That is a choice that you guys make, and we will honor, or we will basically be very respectful of it if that's what you chose to do. I agree and acknowledge that I will not consume and or use alcohol and illegal drugs while wearing my national sash and crown, nor will I take photos engaging in such activities in full regalia or partial regalia that include smoking and gambling. Doing so will result into an automatic forfeiture of my title and prizes. So please be mindful that the use of alcohol is not allowed while you're wearing your crown and sash. What you do with your sash off and your crown off, that's your choice. But while you're representing the agency, the organization, please be mindful of the things that are around you and even the people that you're around when they're drinking and you're there with your sash. So just be mindful of that. I acknowledge I have no knowledge of past, present participation in any nude event, press or public event or activity that may infringe on a moral responsibility of my title and prizes. If you guys have nudie pictures out there, get rid of them as soon as possible. um, and hide them so that we cannot find them. Because we have some really good PIs that can find anything in this organization. So if you have anything that could cause embarrassment and or any type of moral problems, you may want to have that conversation. And I'm always welcome to do sidebars. So you guys have my so sidebar me if that's the case, and then we can kind of do this really quietly and nobody else has to know. Nichelle, you have this look on your face like, really? Yeah, really? Are you saying that? I just wanted to put that out there. That your face is telling a whole story, Nichelle. I acknowledge that the contents of my social media page, as well as all of my other internet webpage, are considered a direct reflection of me as a title holder in the American Beauty's national pageant, even if my title is forfeited or resigned. Do know that we do have trollers. Those are individuals who take a look at your pages. They keep an eye on some of the stuff that you have. If they feel that something on your page is inappropriate, they will reach out to you on a side note and say, hey, you may want to take that down. Hey, that picture wasn't appropriate. I would remove that. Do not take offense to that. Just know that they're doing it for your best interest. So please don't take offense. All sexual suggested photos, clothed or unclothed, and verbally explicit comments must be immediately removed during my reign. Examples of such material include, but not limited to, photos of a queen in undergarments or items that look like undergarments, photos of a queen which places emphasis on an exposed and or part of the chest, buttocks, or genital areas. Text with any insulting to an individual or group or individuals. This includes politically or discriminatorily charged postings, prejudice or racially charged postings. Not accept any discrimination, prejudice, or racism towards any queen, contestant, judge, national staff members posting racial charged videos, comments, statements, and all of that other stuff that could cause some form of defamation to character. So let's just be mindful of how we post and the opinions. I'm not saying that you cannot post your opinions. What I'm saying is just be mindful of what you post. And I say this to say, there may be some days I want to say F the world, but I won't, because I know that I'm representing someone else's organization. So I'm very cognizant of some of the words or even quotes that I use when it comes to speaking my opinion. So just be mindful that although you are your own person, which we love about you, you still represent an organization, and everything that we do is scrutinized. Everything we do as women are already scrutinized. So let's just be mindful of that. Text which contains foul language, explicit and inflammatory comments, text which contains negative and derogatory remarks of another pageant system. So although we have our opinions of other systems, just be mindful of some of the comments that we're using. And I can tell you there's some systems that I chose not to be affiliated with or part of. However, I'm not going to defame their name. I'm going to keep it very classy. And if someone came and asked me, I'll say it's just not a pageant of my choice. It's not something that I want to be affiliated with. So just be mindful of that. Keep it very just straightforward and take the negativity out of it. Just tell them at this point, I just chose not to communicate or say whatever it is about the system at this time. Keep it classy. I agree to comply with all requests to remove media as outlined above, which may be made by American Beauty's national pageant or royal production staff within 24 hours of the time of the request. Meaning if I text you and say, hey, Gloria, you need to remove that headshot you placed up there with the big, really offensive hat on that says F you, I need you to take that down. You have 24 hours to do so. I know you wouldn't do that, Gloria. I'm just using you as an example. I acknowledge that I am not to make derogatory remarks orally or written on social media or any other internet website against any member of the pageant staff, reigning queens, lifetime queens, queen of queens, families, etc., of American Beauty's National or Plus, or any pageant owned by Royal Productions. I understand that while I am a national title holder, I am to conduct myself in a professional manner at all times. I further acknowledge that I am not to delete, block, and/or restrict any members of staff of American Beauty's National or Plus or Royal Productions, and most of all, the National Executive Director under any circumstances, unless written permission is received from the National Executive Director for approval or unless otherwise directed by the Court of Law. So the National Executive Director will be changed to the CEO. So I'll change that in the contract to let you guys know that that'll go to CEO, not the National Executive Director.
I got a question real quick, Ms. Danielle.
Yes.
Ms. Greta wanted to remind us all that be mindful of the pageant system's rules in regards to regalia. A lot of times, you know, it's best to ask if you are judging. Sometimes they want you to wear a crown, sometimes they don't. So just be mindful of whatever their rules and requirements are. But it's always best to just ask if you don't know. The other thing, there's a question, attending another pageant with Royal Productions, is that attendance or an expectation? And can you clarify that a little bit more, Dr. Street?
I was just thinking, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my voice back together. I was thinking that, you know, even as much as I would love to be at all events, which the only one we have left is one more, but for some people, it might be a financial struggle to attend. And, you know, I hope someone would reach out and try to help if that was the case. But I just wanted to know, just in case there's something later, like, are we expected to, don't,
If you, I understand exactly what you're saying,
Okay.
Ms. Street.
Thank you.
Dr. Street, excuse me. You are not obligated to attend any outside Royal Productions pageants if you are not able to. It is all voluntarily for you guys to come if you can. If you can't, no. We are looking to do a large fundraiser. You guys will have ample enough time to know when we're going to do that, to prepare yourself, because we know that everybody doesn't live in one state. And if financially you can't get to that fundraiser, it is not held against you for not coming. Did that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. I understand that by winning the national title, I can never compete for that exact title again. I can, however, return and compete in the American Beauty's National Pageant System in another division. So I say this, I, Danielle Yancey, can go back and compete for American Beauty's National, and I can compete to get the elite title, but I can't go back into the MS division. I would have to go to the MRS division to compete for that elite title. Does that make sense to you guys? So if Diane decided, oh, this is great, I love it, I've had the classic beauties, now I want to compete, but I really want the elite title, she could not go back into the classic division. She would have to go into the MRS division or the MS division to compete. But she's able to go back and compete for that title if she chose to. If you have already won the elite title, you can no longer compete in that system. You can't come back and compete because, oh, I didn't get a division. No, ma'am, you won the elite title. The only pageant that you can't compete in is Prevailing Queens or another system. You can move Miss Street from ABP to ABN. You can go and compete for ABN. You can also go compete for NSP again as well. You can also compete for Classic Beauties. You just cannot compete for ABP again. Okay. And we are, just so you guys know, and you're the first to be told, we're opening up Prevailing Queens to all of Royal Productions, not just ABN and ABP. We're doing it for NSP and ASV. They're also going to be able to come and compete for Prevailing Queens as well. And the title is going to change to Royal Productions Prevailing Queens plus Royal Productions Prevailing Queens National. All right. So if anybody tell you, you heard it from the person themselves. So you know it's true when it comes from me. Okay, I understand. Oh, I will not hold a pageant or pageant location, hotel, or venue used by the American Beauty's National Pageant liable for any accidents, illnesses, or injuries incurred while attending the pageant or during my reign. I am responsible for any expenses incurred at nationals and while representing my title throughout the year unless otherwise paid by the parties who are giving no charge rooms for an appearance or a sponsorship. I acknowledge that while I am under contract with the American Beauty's Nationals and or Plus pageant, I am prohibited against starting my own pageant system, directing for another pageant system, or conducting any activities that will involve me in recruiting for any system other than the American Beauty's National Plus system, unless I submit written requests for permission and receive prior written approval from the CEO or designee. Now, I'm going to tell y'all this. Please make sure you are sending that information in writing because you have to get an approval first before you're able to do so. So don't send it and say, hey, I took on a position with whatever this pageant system is, and I need approval to direct next year. No, I'm just letting y'all know, Natasha will say no. She's gonna say no, because you should have done it prior to taking the position. So make sure if you're thinking about taking the position, you're putting it in prior to saying yes. Fundraisers, I acknowledge that I am trying to raise funds for a special organization or platform. I must obtain prior approval to do so by the CEO of Royal Productions and Events by NM or designee for the security or legal obligations of American Beauty's Plus system, American Beauty's National Pageant, and the Royal Productions of Events by NM are not held liable in any way. If I collect monies for the organizational platform, I understand that all monies must be given to said platform or organization. Documentation of contribution must be provided to the national office for record purposes, no exceptions. American Beauty's National Pageant does not encourage or condone participating or hosting of private fundraisers on social media to attain expenses for pageant participation. Does that make sense? Does everybody understand what that means?
Can you go in more detail about that?
So if you say, hey, I'm raising money for cancer awareness, and the monies will be donated to the American Cancer Society, we need a copy. If you're out there using our name and that you're doing this for that, we need to show face that you have donated the funds that you collected to the Cancer Society. That information needs to be held on record, because what happens is, and I can tell you from what I've seen for experience, a person said they're donating to the Susan G. Komen, and when we asked for the documentation, they could not provide it, and they used the money to travel to the pageant. You cannot do that. That is a no-no. That is stealing. And you're using the name, you're using Royal Productions and or American Beauties as that avenue to get what you're trying to get to. So you can't do that for your personal gain. If you're doing it as a fundraiser for an organization, we just need face that you've done that. You must provide receipts is what we're asking for, to show that you have taken that money. Or even if you decide to do the fundraising, you said 30% of the proceeds go towards this. That is better than you're telling us that all proceeds go towards this agency. So just be mindful of how you word your fundraising. And if you decide to look for sponsors, there's a whole separate sponsorship letter that you need to have to find sponsors to get you to nationals or get you back to nationals, if that makes sense.
Yes, there's a question. What if the fundraiser is online and funds go straight to the organization? For example, if you're doing a birthday thing on Facebook and you put that fundraiser, if they send that money, it goes straight to that organization. Are they?
Just they're entitled to show us of where they donated it.
Okay,
It still has screenshot where it went.
okay,
Even if you're doing it online, that is fine,
okay.
right? As a title holder, I understand I'm contractually obligated to return to the national pageant in the 2023 to crown my successor or at my own expense. I'm just gonna say this out loud because it needs to be said. Understand that you are contractually held to come back and crown your successor. This year, if we ask you, are you coming to the pageant, and you say, I'm not coming, you will not be in the program book. We will not expect for you to be there, and we can't pay the additional funds to pay for you to be there, and you're not going to be there. So please note, as soon as we get the date, we're going to provide that information to you ladies, and then you're going to be able to tell us whether or not you can make it or not make it. It is not going to be, oh yeah, I think I am. I'm not sure, because our goal is to assign jobs, put people in place on the things that they need to do, where you're going to be, all of that stuff's going to be presented to you prior to you coming to the pageant. And if you're not going to be there, it's just better for you to be honest with us than it is for you to just kind of string us along to say that you're going to not come, that you're going to wait till the day and tell us you're not coming. And that's exactly what happened this year. It was very heartbreaking. There was money spent on people who didn't show up, and those funds could have been better allocated to getting gift prizes and prize packages for you ladies who decided to be there. And so I want to make sure y'all understand that. We do not take our prize packages this year like really. We're taking it really serious this year. We're looking at getting some very quality sponsors and quality gifts to provide you ladies, stuff that you can use, not just a whole bunch of stuff. So just be mindful of that. And that's all we ask. So as a national title holder, you understand that when I return in 2023, I will be financially responsible for my travel arrangements, flights and/or gas, hotel stay, meal tickets to be purchased through the pageant website, and any wardrobe. Note that we may make a change to that. You may not have to pay for your meal tickets next year, but that's something that we'll determine later. As Queen, that might be part of your prize package. We haven't decided it yet, but we will let you guys know if that's the case, right? But as of right now, you're held responsible for it. Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure if you're going to hit on this, but you kind of hit on it. As far as wardrobe, two things. How soon will the queens know what the theme and wardrobe obligations are? And I know this has changed and then changed back with queens. So as far as opening number and leading divisions off, is that going to stay the same? Because I personally, I start my shopping for nationals now because I'm a thrifty shopper and I gotta get what I can get. And I just need to know, do they need a fun fashion outfit to lead off or no, just so that people know how to plan accordingly?
Well, wasn't that a wonderful segue into number 20? I understand that during the National Pageant Weekend, Royal Productions and Events by NM have the right to make changes to the production at any time. For example, only elite queens will present during fashion wear and evening gown competition. Did I answer it, Gloria?
Yes, so basically
Yes,
what
and
that,
so what we're saying is, as of right now, only the elite queens will be leading the line. That does not mean that that cannot change, but as of right now, only the elite queens will be leading the lines. But for prevailing queens, both queens will lead the line for prevailing queen. You can put your hand down now, Penny. I knew what you was asking. But what we found that last year, with all the queens presenting, it actually lengthened the time span for it. And we want to make sure, first of all queens get their farewell speeches, and they get their roses presented to them. May not be during the competition, but we'll make sure that their roses are presented to them so that all can see. But it may not be leading off the divisions. That's something we're still talking about. Also, the theme has already been selected. We just have not presented it. Theme was selected actually last year, before we even had the national pageant this year. So I'm not telling you. But you guys are really going to be very impressed and very happy with the theme this year. Very exciting. So did they answer the question before I move on? Okay. I acknowledge that at the end of my reign, I will not continue to make appearances without first consulting with either the producer, director, or assistant director, as my title and reign will conclude at the crowning of my successor. I say this only to say, please don't steal someone else's shine. And I say that specifically to people who, although we love that you are continuously representing the system, you have to retire your sash. You have to retire it, because it is disrespectful for me to wear my Miss title when Rashana was Miss last year. So I don't want to wear my sash to steal her shine, which is why we are giving the ribbons to those people who are, if your tenure comes up, Carolyn's presenting the ribbons to you guys to wear. Because you don't have a sash or a title, you'll have that. But if your lifetime, you can wear your title all day long. It never expires. It's what it is. But each division and elite winner has a year. Okay. So we want to make sure those, and outstanding queens as well, they have a year. So let's be respectful of those individuals' years. And unless you reach out and say, hey, Danielle, can I wear my sash to an appearance? You know, I will actually call the person who's holding the title and say, hey, is it okay if this person wears the sash? Because it's just a form of respect to me. And so I would never let someone wear their elite title when someone else is holding that title right now. So just make sure that our sister queens know that, Gloria, we just got to be mouthpieces for them to know that. Should legal action be pursued by myself or on behalf of the American Beauties pageant? I agree that first trying to resolve the matter through arbitration before pursuing any legal actions in a court of law. Furthermore, I agree that the arbitrator and location of the arbitration can be selected at the sole discretion of the CEO of Royal Productions and Events by NM. It just basically says if we have a dispute that we cannot resolve, we would just have a mediator or arbitrator somewhere involved to kind of deal with our matter, opposed to us going straight to court. Or and if it's financially, whoever decides to do it, they're financially responsible for that arbitrator in that case, or going to court if that's what they chose to do. I agree to the terms of the contract, subject to change. The contracts are subject to change. Should any changes occur, I will be notified of changes to the contract within 30 calendar days of the change via email. I hereby agree to ensure that the Queen's Liaison, CEO of Royal Productions and Event by NM, have the most current email address. So if Gloria doesn't have your email address, ladies, y'all need to make sure she has the current one. And this basically is just saying that your signature is going to attest that you understand and agree with the terms of your contract. and that you're going to have a blissful and blessed year, and everybody's going to return for cake and ice cream for next year to crown their successors, and to be a part of this wonderful occasion that we're going to have. Even if Miss Yancey, the producer, decides to resign before time. That's what the sign of that says, okay? Just so you guys know. So that is the contract. That's what we have for now, but there is some other things. Hold on one second, y'all, okay?
Yeah.
While we're waiting for her to come back, I'll be submitting Ms. Danielle a proof for the press release. Once it is approved, it will be emailed to you. The press release is basically a document that you will send to like your local paper or magazine, so that they can print something talking about your win and all that kind of stuff. So that is in the works. So just be on the lookout for that.